Alright, Shalom. Call halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakatash, and honors unto other apostles of great millstone, the elders on down salutation. So all of you sincere Akimote who are lifting up the banner, preaching the gospel of repentance to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, which are your so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, you the 12 tribes, and the remnant and the rest of you have been scattered among the nations. Shalom Brakatam, looking like all men of these nations, that we've been scattered among them, speaking their native tongues. As we were once in that state of mind, thinking that we are of these nations, only to find out through the preaching of the gospel. Psalms 19 goes into that, says that there's no sound. In fact, let me just get this in Psalms quickly on the side, because we are ultimately, the lies of the wicked have been cast. They've been the lies of the wicked, YAHAWADAH, he's casting down all these lies through the spiritual weapons, of which is the word of YAHAWADAH, the sword. The strongholds have been broken down. These lies, these abominable lies and heresies, through the preaching of the gospel. This is Psalm chapter 19 and 2 says, day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line is gone out throughout all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. It says, in them have he set the tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth at the strong men to run a race. Verse 6, his going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it, and there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. All these nations, we putting them on blast. All the hideous, heinous crimes that have been committed against you Israelites, you Hebrew Israelites, which are you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, we put in the heat, and we put in the spotlight on all the violent acts that have been committed against our people, against our nation. All the dark, dirty secrets are being revealed. We know what Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, has done and still is planning on doing. And all of that, we bring in all of that forward. Even amongst your own, Satan be divided against Satan, and his kingdom shall not stand. Even amongst your own, they're exposing your lies and your hypocrisies. And it's all done through the internet. The apostles never have to travel in Africa, and specifically where I'm located in South Africa. There was no need for that. The preaching did all the work. All the internet did the heavy lifting. Because we're living in that time, and therefore our enemies are being exposed for the goddamn fucking lies that they've been and still are nothing but lies. And part of the lies is that they thinking somehow the Most High, he's going to forgive these nations. They're going to just have to come in, and we're going to have to just forgive them what they've done. You do not understand forgiveness, the concept of forgiveness, what forgiveness is, what entails forgiveness, who qualifies for forgiveness, for being forgiven. And Esau, Edom, he does not fit the criteria for receiving forgiveness. Just as simple as that. Let's get this first precept here, the book of Zechariah, chapter 2, and verse 8. This is Zechariah chapter 2 and verse 8. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, after the glory have sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. And who touched us? Esau, Edom. Mainly, Job 19:24, the F has been given into the hands. Let's go to it. Okay. Let's get this book here in the book of Job. This is the book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24. The F is given into the hands of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof, if not, where and who is he? And the main judges which Esau, Edom has been covering up over their faces, who would have been Father is, the angels, the Israelites, even the nationality and the identity of these nations. For prime example, you go to these different movies. Okay, when you see the Egyptians in these so-called somewhat epic historical movies, such so-called the gods of Egypt, there's nothing there over there but pure fucking Edomites. These are the part of the main judges of these nations. These are the nations whose also their faces have been covered by this man, their nationality, who they are. See, this man is just nothing but a pure liar. He's just nothing but a pure liar, a thief and a robber, a murderer. This man, he's a fugitive, okay, on a run, masquerading and hiding himself under all these false pretenses of names. He's a fugitive and a vagabond on the earth, hiding from his true nationality. But his essence, his being, it just comes out. We're able to identify him by his fruits. For what has been written down in the scriptures, what Esau, Edom, what he's all about, what he will be doing at the end. And now we've been sent forth by the Spirit and power of YAHAWADAH to you nations who have been spoiling us and still are, when we still are under your clutches. The Baruch, let me get this on the side. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 4, and verse 31 says, miserable are they all that afflicted thee, and rejoice at thy fall. How many? Was it only just Esau, Edom? No. All these other nations, these Hamites, the so-called Africans, Ishmaelites, the so-called Arabs, all these other nations, you name them all, Ammon and Moab, Elam, the Japhites, you name all these other nations, man. They rejoice at our fall. All of them have been partakers. They have all benefited in our downfall as a nation as a whole, as Israelites. Verse 32, Baruch 4 and 32, miserable are the cities which thy children served. It says what? Cities. It was not just one city. We know, okay, one singular city for you dumb fucking assholes out there who says, oh, Israel has all dark skin. We've been scattered among all the cities of the world, among all these different nations on the planet. And yes, the so-called Native Americans, the indigenous people of North, South, and Central Americas are the Israelites. Okay, they are the Israelites. They are the Northern Kingdom. And the rest have been scattered amongst all these other nations that are upon the face of the planet. And we're still there, and we're still captive under these nations, awaiting our Lord and Savior Yahushua's second return with the hosts of heaven to redeem us from among, to be redeemed from among men. Abaratas that we be of that number. Beginning with the men that have laid the foundation and is still up there consistently still teaching the apostles, elders of Great Millstone. It says here, Baruch 4 and In verse 32, miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that received thy son, and the most miserable city that have received the Israelites is Babylon the Great, America, North America, the land of opportunity. That's the worst city to ever receive the sons of Yasharallah, the sons of Jerusalem, the Hebrew Israelites. And it will suffer fire at this upcoming World War III. And that's part of the things that we've been sent out unto these nations, to tell you your end, that Babylon the Great, the mother of all harlots, the abomination of the earth, will be destroyed in this upcoming nuclear destruction, World War III. And all of those who are in that land who are not of the elect will burn, will be turned into dust at the heat of the radiation that's going to be coming from these missiles, alongside of the chariots of salvation. And let's go to the next verse, verse 9, Zechariah chapter 2 and verse 9. It says, for behold, I will shake mine hand upon them, these nations that the YAHAWADAH have sent us unto them. It says, for behold, I will shake my hand upon them, and they shall be a spoil to their servants. And ye shall know that I am the Lord of hosts, have sent me. Zechariah chapter 2 and 9 says, for behold, I will shake mine hand upon them, these nations that we've been sent unto. Because Jeremiah, the first chapter, not only are we servants and prophets to our own. Let's get this in Jeremiah chapter 1. Now, Lord willing, our writers, my data does not run out in the middle of a lesson. I'm already receiving notifications on my screen. Lord willing, our writers. It says Jeremiah chapter 1. Let me start here. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 7 says, but the Lord said unto me, say not that I am a child, for thou shalt go to all that I sent thee, and whatsoever I command thee, thou shalt speak. And when we warning you, nothing but utter chaos and destruction, death and famine is on the way, judgments, and at the end of it, at the climax of all of it, salvation will come unto the elect within the nation of Yasharallah. A remnant will only return, as it has been happening throughout history of all these different captivities that we were under. A remnant always returned. Not all have seen deliverance under whatever empire or kingdom that was established, that we ended up going into, that we ended up being captives under. It says, be not afraid of their faces, for I am with thee to deliver thee. So the servants of YAHAWADAH, those who have been sent out unto the nations, proclaiming the acceptable year of YAHAWADAH. And you're supposed to be comforted. You are supposed to be comforted right now. Not trying to save these pieces of nothing. Isaiah 14:15, the Lord says, these nations, they are as nothing. Let's go to that in Isaiah. Let's get Isaiah chapter 14. Isaiah chapter 14 verse 15 says, behold, the nations as a drop of a bucket, and are counted as a small dust of the balance. Behold, he taketh up the isles as a very little thing. And Lebanon is not sufficient for burnt offering, nor the beast thereof sufficient for burnt offering. All nations before him are as nothing. and they are counted to him less than nothing, and vanity. These are the nations. That's why you say that in Zechariah chapter 2 and 8, it says, let me go back to it. Zechariah chapter 2 and 8 says, for thus saith the Lord of hosts, after the glory have he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you, for he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. Because the only nation that matters before the sight of the Heavenly Father, YAHAWADAH, it is the nation of Yahshua. The rest of the nations, Isaiah 40, 15 down to 17. These nations are just there to be servants that are going to be ruled over by the ultimate priest and prophets and servants of YAHAWADAH, the 124,000 Israelites, men, to be subject unto the Israelites and to keep not their own demonic, paganistic ways of death and practices that they've been doing throughout history, but they're going to start to learn the laws of the Heavenly Father and abide and live by them. And we're going to be there to make sure that, hey, you are living your lives according to what is in this book, the same very book you nations you're despising. This book is gonna be what is between you and life, between you and death. This book. Zechariah chapter 2 and 9 says, for behold, I will shake mine hand upon them, and they shall be spoiled together. It's like, and they shall be a spoil to their servants. And we have been serving these nations. And let's go back to Baruch chapter. Let's go to Baruch. Now let me see. Baruch chapter 3 and verse 8 says, says Baruch chapter 3 and verse 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for reproach and a curse, to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power. This verse 9 here, Israel, the commandments of life, give ear to understand wisdom. How happeneth it, says, how happeneth it, Israel, that thou art in thine enemy's land, that thou art waxen old in a strange country, that thou art filled, and thou art defiled with the dead. And we are still yet in our captivity among these nations until this very day. That's why we have Israelites who are thinking that they are Hamites. Just because you're living among these so-called Africans, which are Hamites, you got Israelites who are so far gone. They're just not receiving the gospel, the good news. They're so physically and mentally attached to this piece of nothing, this worthless continent, the land of Ham, so much. And some of you, you're not even anywhere near this land, but you somehow thinking that when somebody mentions the bloody fucking name Africa, you think, well, that's where you're from, that's where you originate from. You think, hey, that's your land. Galatians tells you that Jerusalem, which is above, which is the mother of us all. This continent is not the mother. It is not the motherland. It is not. It's the land of the Hamites. And no, you so-called Negroes, West Indians and Haitians, you're not fucking Africans. You're Israelites. You make up the sovereign kingdom. Levi, Benjamin, and Judah. In fact, let's get this in Jeremiah. Get ready to close out. Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 1. Okay, this is how YAHAWADAH will this is what it means when the Moses says, he will shake his hand upon them. It does not mean the Most High is going to keep on affirming these nations what they've been doing unto us. These grievous bonds, and this serving, being captive under these nations, man, is one hell of a painful thing. These degenerate pieces of nothing, these low lives. The YAHAWADAH, when he says that in Zechariah, when he says, let me read this again, Zechariah chapter 2 and 9 says, "For behold, I will shake mine hand upon them. They shall be a spoil to their servants, and they shall know that I am the Lord of hosts, has sent me." Okay. When he says he shall shake his hand upon them, does not mean that he's going to furthermore affirm and allow this captivity that we under to furthermore continue. That the Most High is glad by this status quo of the day. He's not. He's far from being satisfied, man. YAHAWADAH is angry with the wicked every single day. Let's get this in Psalms. Let's go to the book of Psalms. Let's get this very quickly. Psalms chapter 7 and verse 11. Just start at verse 10. Psalms chapter 7 verse 10. "My defense is of the Most High, which saveth the upright in heart, which judgeth the righteous. And the Most High is angry with the wicked every day," every single day. The anger of YAHAWADAH is brewing, it is intensifying. Why the hell you think these missiles are being perfected? Every other week or so, every other month or so, you hear about China or Russia or whatever nation has now got the access to these missiles. Because YAHAWADAH is angry every single day. So when that day comes, when YAHAWADAH he's going to unleash his anger upon the world. And you don't want to be on the wrong side of YAHAWADAH in that day. You just don't want to be on his wrong side in that day. More especially if you are an Israelite. Because these nations, there ain't nothing you can do about that. At least being an Israelite, for start off, you got a fighting chance. Then it goes further than being an Israelite. Do you hear this word from the servants of YAHAWADAH, servants, the prophets? Are you repenting? Will you continue on until the end, serving YAHAWADAH? This is Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 3 says, Israel was holiness unto the Lord YAHAWADAH, and the first fruits of his increase. All that devour him shall offend. All that devour him shall, those of the Israelites. You already offended greatly. It's a great offense. He that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 3 says, Israel was holiness unto the Lord, and the first fruits of his increase. All that devour him shall offend. Evil shall come upon them, saith the Lord. Evil, bad times. That is exactly what is ahead for you nations. Evil, pure evil is on the way. Let's get this in Revelation. Chapter 13 and Exodus 21. And 30. You know what? Let me start here in Revelation first. Revelation chapter 13 and verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And this is exactly what's going to be happening. You other nations, you are going to receive your reward for what you have done unto YAHAWADAH's chosen nation. You are going to receive it. Okay, you are going to receive it. In fact, let me get this precept. I believe it's in somewhere in Galatians. Let me just get this one in the book of Galatians before I go any further. This is Galatians chapter 6 and in verse 7. Be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked, for whatsoever man soweth that shall he also reap. You have been shedding the blood, you have shed the blood of the saints of the Most High, and therefore judgment is awaiting you, nation. There is an appointed time, an appointed day for your judgment. This is Exodus chapter 21. Let me see, Exodus chapter 21. In verse 16, it says, he that selleth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. Another verse 23, Exodus chapter 21, verse 23. If a man says, if any mischief follow, then shalt thou give life for life, eye for an eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burning for burning, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. And these ordinances and these laws have not been done away with. All right. The only difference is right now we are under the captivity of Esau, Edom, of which he has different laws. And we right now, we are abiding by those laws. We're not going to be doing anything physical other than going out there on the highways and hedges and preaching the gospel of repentance to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. This is Romans. Let's get this in the book of Romans. Let me see, Romans. Chapter 13. All right. This is the book of Romans, chapter 13. And verse 1 says, let every soul be subject unto the higher power. For there is no power but of the Most High, YAHAWADAH. The powers that be are ordained of the Most High. And the powers that be today is Esau, Edom, and under beneath him these other nations who are under the direct order and rulership of Esau, Edom. He's the one that is dictating the laws. That's why you see after all these other nations have been colonized by Esau, Edom, they have never wanted any form of vengeance. What happened? That a so-called democratic system has been put into place. So Esau, even these nations, these other nations, these other heathenistic nations he has not restored what is due unto them after he has also fucked them over also. So that's why this man, Esau, Edom, man, your judgment is going to be specific. It is special. Your judgment, it is special. Going back to Jeremiah chapter 2 and Jeremiah chapter 1. Okay, Jeremiah chapter 1 and says verse 7 says, but the Lord said unto me, say not that I am a child, for thou shalt go to all that I have sent thee, and whatsoever I commanded thee thou shalt speak, and be not afraid of their faces, for I am with thee to deliver thee, saith the Lord of hosts. Then says then the Lord put forth his hand and touched my mouth, and the Lord said unto me, behold, I have put my words I have put my words in thy mouth. All right, and now let me start where I should have started in verse 4, Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 4. I'm going to jump up to verse 4. It says then the word of the Lord. Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 4 says, then the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctify thee, I set you apart. You were created from the spiritual world for one single purpose. Okay, says here, says, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Unto the nations. And you nations right now, we're telling you in your faces that, look, you have offended, and evil will come upon you. Evil will come. Bad times. Beginning with the calamities that are about to be unleashed upon the face of the earth. Oh man, let me get this one. This precept that came into mind. Let me see. Micah. Before I get Micah 5. Let me see. Micah chapter 5 verse 15. And another precept. Let me see. In fact, let me just read this one. It's Micah chapter 5 and verse 14. And I will execute vengeance in anger and fury upon the heathen, such as they have not heard. Famine, destruction, diseases, all these things, when they happen, you nations, you're also going to be victims to the wrath of and the indignation of YAHAWADAH. The Lord of the Bible has you nations covered also. You're not going to be exempt from judgment. Let me see, there's another precept here. That I'm looking for. Let me see. In fact, let me just get this one in Obadiah. When he speaks about the day of YAHAWADAH, let's go to Obadiah. This is Obadiah. Let me see from verse 15 of Obadiah, verse 15. For the day of the Lord is near. Upon all the heathen, as thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. So what the hell is this talk about? Forgiveness. Yeah, let's forgive and forget. No. It is still recorded what you have done. Have you paid according to what is written in the scriptures? Have you repaid all the injustices that Esau, Edom, you've done, and you other nation what you have done in helping Esau, Edom, and you Ishmaelites, all you nations what you have done, as you were not in partnership with the wicked for bringing down the Israelites. The Israelites, the Hebrew Israelites, which are you so-called Hispanics, Native Americans, you so-called Negroes, and your remnant, your descendants scattered among the nations. Have you paid back what you've done? No. Even the devil himself that you helped out, he has not repaid all the injustices and all the crimes that he has done unto your own kind. But everybody's going to be paid back. Don't worry. This is YAHAWADAH, the Heavenly Father, the God of the Holy Scriptures, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Israelites, that we're dealing with here. This gets in Psalms 149. Before I go to Psalms 49, there's a precept here in the book of Job, I believe. This is Job chapter 34 and verse 33. It says, should it be according to thy mind? Will he, says Job chapter 34 and verse 33, should it be according to thy mind? He will recompense it, whether thou refuse or whether thou choose, and not I. Therefore speak what thou knowest. What the hell do you think you know you're going to speak that is that is so different, and that's going to be able to upset prophecy. This is YAHAWADAH that we're talking about here. You being attached to these nations, though joined hand in hand, the wicked shall not be left unpunished. A recompense is on its way. It is on its way. Job chapter 34 and verse 33. Should it be according to thy mind? Oh man, hey, it's all in the past. Hey, those are my forefathers, man. My great-great-great-great-grandfather. It's not me. I was not there. Come on. Come on. There's economic opportunities for all. Just go to school. Go to college. Get yourself a qualification. Where's your CV at? Bullshit. Psalms. Let me go to this in Psalms and close off. Book of Psalms 149. Psalms 149 in verse 6 says, let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen, and the punishment upon the people, to bind their kings with chains, and their nobles with the fetters of iron. These are the elite banking families of the world. Esau, Edom, the Amalekites. Okay, the head top leaders, the ringleaders out of the nation of Esau, Edom, of the Edomites. Okay, slip of the tongue there. All right, Salakia. Okay, the head top leaders of the banking families of the Esau, Edom, of the Edomites. The elites are the ones who are going to be left, and they're going to go straight into captivity. It says to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor of all his saints, praise ye Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua. And is an honor for all of the saints. It is an honor. Ecclesiasticus chapter 25. Speaking about an honor. All this honor have all his saints. And there are those who are not gonna taste of death. Yeah. And the dead, those who die in Yahushua, will arise first. So either way, there's no death for the elect, and they're gonna have that honor. They're gonna have that honor. Ecclesiasticus Sirach chapter 25 and verse 7. There be 9 things which I have counted. There be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy. And the 10th will I utter with my tongue. A man that have joy over his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. You see, the man that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. Man. Okay, let's go ahead. Zechariah chapter 2 and 10 says, sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo, I will come, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, saith the Lord. And that song is mightily so strongly going out. And we're singing right now that only the few could sing this song. It is only for the few who have been given the inspiration and the breath from the Almighty, have been given the understanding, therefore they are capable and able and are, when will continuously keep on singing that song until deliverance comes. So sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo, I come, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, saith the Lord. He will dwell in the midst of YAHAWADAH of the Israelites. And verse 11 says, and many nations shall be joined to the Lord in that day, and shall be my people, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, and shall know that I am the Lord of hosts, have sent me unto thee. And these many people that is referring to is all referring to nothing but pure Israelites. These many great innumerable multitude. Revelation let's go to it in Revelation 5. Let's go to this great many people. Revelation chapter 5. Revelation chapter 5. Okay. You can even get that account in even Revelation 7. Let me see. You know what? Let me just go into this one in Revelation 7 first, and I'm gonna go to this in Revelation 5 and verse 9. Revelation chapter 5, chapter 7. So like it, Revelation chapter 7, verse 13. And one of the let me see. Verse 13 says, and one of the elders answered, saying unto me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence come they? This is after John the Revelator got the vision about 12,000 out of each tribe of the nation of YAHAWADAH when the 70 prophets got sealed. All right, so he's asking me a question. He says, and I said unto him, say, thou knowest. And he said unto me, these are they which came out of great tribulation, have washed their robes and made them white, okay, with and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore are they before the throne of the Most High, and serve him day and night in the temple. And he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. Says, they shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them no more, nor any heat. It says, for the Lamb which is in the midst thereof, in the midst of the throne, shall feed them, and shall lead them unto living fountains of waters, and the Most High YAHAWADAH shall wipe away all the tears from their eyes. It says, he shall dwell among them. These are the exact same Israelites in Zechariah 2 in the 2nd chapter. All right, 2 in verse 10, where says, these are the ones he is giving a commandment unto us, the Israelites, to rejoice, because he's coming with deliverance. He's coming to our aid, to make sure these nations are paid back for what they have done. Well, Revelation chapter 5 and verse 9 says, and they sang a new song, saying, thou art worthy. Revelation chapter 5 verse 9, and they sang a new song, and thou art saying, thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain, and thou hast redeemed us unto the Most High by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation, and has made us unto our king, and has made us unto our power kings and priests, and we shall reign on earth. Okay, these kings and these priests goes back to the scripture in Exodus. Let me see. It goes back to Exodus 19 and verse 5. It says, now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. For all the earth is mine, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. these are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. And this is what we're telling you right now. We are going to become in the future kingdom which is at hand, which is fast approaching. We're going to be a kingdom of kings and priests. These are the same ones who are going to be joined. The many people, the many nations referring to Zechariah 2 and 11, they're going to be joined. And man, these nations cannot be saved. There's no saving all these nations. They got nothing to be saved out of. All right. In Zechariah chapter 2 verse 11, it says, Zechariah chapter 2 verse 11, and the Lord shall inherit Judah his portion in the Holy Land, and shall choose Jerusalem again. Going back to Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 1. So YAHAWADAH does not change at all. He does not change. Alright, he does not change. The last verse, verse 13 says, be silent all flesh before the Lord, for he is raised up out of his holy habitation. And that's going to happen. All the flesh before YAHAWADAH, all these different Edomite Christians and all the scoffers, all of them disputing the servants of YAHAWADAH, all of that's going to be done away with. Because it's just going to be, it will be happening in that day. It's going to be known that these men are though with sackcloth, with garments and border of blue, which were seen as nothing but filth of the earth, as scumbags in the eyes of those who were spiritually blinded. These men were actually speaking the truth. And there will be no more lies in that day. The word of YAHAWADAH would have been fulfilled. All praises, all and glory be unto YAHAWADAH, honors unto the elders, apostles of great millstone, salutations to the sincere out there. YAHAWADAH, to the elect, Shalom.